To show me what you work on.
I don't know what to do.
Just whatever.
Are we holding the leash or not?
However you do it. If it's like I let it drag, then you let it drag.
Well, I'll try. I mean, should I try something or just?
Yeah, you can go through the you can either wander and let them get distracted to do a recall into a heel, into a stay, or you can heel past that squirrel right there. But if you're gonna do that, then you would shorten your leash, right? Because you're trying to accommodate for oh, he might be a little distracted here.
Right. You're nervous. Like, look at his lips. Oh, that's good.
I would probably do the heel because we got a squirrel there, a squirrel there, a squirrel there, and then see how he does with just passing by those squirrels.
So in starting a heel, also, I guess this did come up, I forgot. Do I have to bring myself to him, or should I
Oh, I see what you're saying.
How should this start in real life?
Okay.
I'm not always just next to it.
Right. So if you do a heel, so some trainers teach heel as come to my side.
Yeah.
Like this.
Right.
That's a separate command. Okay. Now, because it's a very specific coming towards you.
Yeah.
And moving and looping here.
Yes.
Right? However, let's say Walter just at that tree.
Yeah.
And you had the long leash, you could say heel and walk because it's a straight shot.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a straight shot to your left. So if Walter went that way.
But if I was yeah, okay. But yeah, okay. No, okay.
So if Walter was that way,
yeah,
I wouldn't say heel and walk this way because he's got to loop around.
Right.
Okay, now he can learn that over time.
Yeah. But I know he's not there.
Then I go like this. Now it's this side.
Okay.
Right? So you can be 20 feet away and I go heel and tap and start walking. So he's thinking, come to that left side. Okay?
Yeah. Because I don't want to
Yeah. As long as he's somewhere on this side, it doesn't matter where he's facing. So see right now he's facing that way.
Yeah.
You could go to this side, and do this. You could go behind him and do this. It's just
he's on this
in this side because it makes it easier for him. Okay? Now I can absolutely teach it all the other way, but that requires more work on your part.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you want to learn something else. What's that?
I said the squirrels are gone.
They're distracted, run. Does he not care for birds?
Not anymore.
Okay.
He used to.
Man, all the squirrels left. Where'd they go?
Yeah.
They're literally. Tap. What's your number?
36.
Tap to correct the auto down. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Let me see. Where'd they go?
There's squirrels left.
Alright,
Hey.
we'll do a heel and we'll cut around right there on the inside of the street by those birds while I scout for where the hell these these squirrels went. So be careful of that lady. Her dog just jumped out.
Yeah, I saw
at this Weimar, right? No.
Oh, sorry.
That dog's bigger. That dog will win.
Right.
Well, technically.
Dog. Alright.
Ready? Heel and forward.
But he's on the right side.
Yeah, but if you would have went that way, he would have still been on your left.
I don't know where I'm going.
Alright, heel.
Heel.
There you go. Go ahead and pivot. And I'd walk right, harass those pigeons and walk right through. So you see how he perks up right here? Okay, now turn, tap, 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 forward. There you go. Now turn to your right, tap, and you're gonna walk right there. So I'm looking at him and his posture, and he keeps puckering his mouth, and he keeps forging. You see that?
Yeah.
So here, what's your number set at?
36.
So let's go ahead and go to 42. Okay, and then forward. So going towards the squirrels, could you see how he was forging, right?
Yeah.
And from the side, he was like, his mouth started chattering. So that's the prey drive, right? So you're walking him straight into that distraction.
Yeah.
Okay. So because one, we're going towards the street, you're shortening your leash, just in case he decides, right? So we're taking precautions, but you're still giving him some slack so that he can make. Oh, did they go?
They all go.
See, Walter? You see it? Oh, there it is. So the moment you start to see him forging forward, you do that immediate pivot, like you would, and we're remoting. And what we're trying to find is that number that's going to get him to hone in, but be able to kind of take this in as well. Okay, but you're more important than this. Okay, so we're going to pop him in the heel, we'll pivot off, and we'll go over that way. There it is. So now he sees a squirrel. It's just sitting up too. Now he sees a squirrel. Turn, tap, 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 tap. Good. And go into slow pivot. You got it. Good. Now you see how he's still locked on.
Yeah.
Okay. Now and see how he even passed you. So let's go to 50.
Pointing.
And we're going. He's pointing. And we're going to go ahead and straighten out our leash so it's not underneath his legs there. And he knows that squirrel's over there, so we're going to keep walking in that direction because he's most likely in a forge still, and give a little bit more slack here. That's good right there. Okay, yep, and you locked it, it looks like? Perfect. And heel. So there he goes. You see that turn? Tap, turn, tap, 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 tap. And pivot again. Back to the squirrels. What is his demeanor like now? Just a little better.
See it, that's why.
Right there. Right? So now we watch his posture. Tap, 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 tap. And then I go to, you're at 50? Let's go to 60. And then back towards the direction of that squirrel there. And then I watch Walter's posture here. Right? He keeps raising his head, licking his lips. He's looking a little bit. Turn. Good. So he turned with you. Tap forward. Going to turn again and come to a stop. Good. So here, I escalated pretty quick.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Because he was like nowhere close to responding, I guess.
Right.
Like it was very far off.
Right. I could see there was, because he kept gambling like, where's the squirrel at, right? And I want to.
Still worth it to him.
Yes, and I want to get there faster because one, we've been doing this for now like 2 months.
Yeah.
Right. So he's got a very good concept.
Right.
Two, if you always do gradual, like right now, we've only had a handful of opportunities.
Right.
So I'm trying to take advantage of them before they're gone completely, that I'm escalating faster. Plus, the last time we were here with the down, I think you're as high as 80.
Yeah, I was like in the 70s.
Yeah, you're up there.
Yeah.
So that's my frame of reference. So I'm like, well, the last time we worked with him around squirrels, we were at 75, 80. So I'm already thinking that's probably where I'm going to end up at, right?
Right.
So this is where I start getting a feel for his range in a realistic context.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then if we do this, and let's say
When
there's
he's on a normal walk, it's something.
exactly, it's different because it's different context. So if you find, oh yeah, every time we work around squirrels, it's always 70, 80.
Yeah.
Then when I go to a setting and I see squirrels, I'm just at 70 or 80, and I get that right off the bat. So this way we don't struggle with the sniffing the ground stuff. Because even that, and that is personal preference.
Yeah.
I saw a squirrel. I look like Walter now.
He'll let us know.
So, personal preference. So my dogs can sniff the ground and be in a tight heel without losing position. So I let them do it.
Right.
Other dogs, they do it and they start to deviate. So then I don't let them do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so every dog is different. Oh, there it is. Every dog is different. Okay, it's going to pop them in the heel and we'll walk that way. Towards the squirrel, yep. Yep, tap, 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 tap. You're at 50?
60.
70. Turn again. We're going to head towards that tree. Yeah, the one that the squirrel ran up.
Yep.
Go ahead and speed up a bit and keep moving this way. And I'm going to have you just randomly turn off to a 90-degree right cut. So you're walking away from him. Oh, that's good. Okay, that's good. Go ahead and just pivot. Tap, tap. That's better. Going to give him a little bit more slack. Turn, tap, 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 tap. Keep moving, tap, 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 tap. You're at 70, right? 80. Go ahead and turn back this way. I don't know what he ran towards though.
I don't know. I think he'll probably leave.
Careful. So he's perking up a little bit. So his brain is still in scout mode.
Yeah.
Because I can see him glancing all over the place. Keep moving forward. Okay, well, that's better. That was a lot better. Go ahead and pivot back. And slow to stop. All right. On that 80, did you see what I said? Oh, that's a lot better.
Yeah.
Why?
The quickness of his response.
Yeah. Quick, one tap.
Right. When walking right here.
Right.
Right.
So when you're on 70, you got like 20 feet away. And I was like, tap, 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 tap. And if he did run back to you, I liked the speed, but it was like a lot before he was like, all right, I'll come along.
Fine.
This was, whoa, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Right? That's the response I'm looking for in every environment.
Right.
It's just, what is it going to be in the environment?
Right.
Okay? So on an average walk where it's like we've done this every day, 3 times a day, you might be 25, 30.
Right.
But then when it's like, oh, we're over at like Diversity golf range where there's thousands of squirrels,
Right.
90 to get that same kind of response as easily.
Right.
Okay, so it should never feel like an argument. And that's why I say it's all about the number. You've taught everything. You've put the homework in. I can see it. He's got very good concept. It's just, is it important enough to do it?
Right.
Is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Okay?
Persuasion.
Yes, the persuasion of negative consequences.
Right.
Okay? And now he's a bit more attentive. He's not so scouty.
Yeah, his
Whereas-
ears are back at least. Like,
Yeah.
he's still looking, but his ears
Yes.
are back.
And that is a very good point to note, is that the ears, right? His ears perk up, like, whoa, 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 he's really in that mode.
Yeah.
So he's in a passive alert state, is how I would call this. ears are back, he's calm, but he's still aware that, you know what, there is like things that I like around here.
Right.
Okay, so then it's just a matter of overriding those stimuli, and all it is the power. So I give him the leash, and I go, we're walking straight to it, buddy.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do, right? So like, I don't know if, I'm sure they are, but like on Logan Square, right, in the boulevard or whatever,
Yeah.
you see a bunch of squirrels, like heel, and we're heeling right to the squirrels. And you walk right through there. And he's going to make mistakes. And then you proof it using power. And you keep repeating that. So then the next time he's like, all right, we're walking towards the squirrels again. I know 90 is a thing. So I'm going to behave myself, but I'm going to, you know, enjoy these squirrels and observe them. I don't care. And then I go, break. And he's like, really? And I go, yeah, have fun.
Right.
Then he's sitting there
And
barking.
you can chase him up the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting there and I let him have at it for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and then it's Walter, come.
Yeah.
90.
Yeah.
Get over here. Then I wait and I test him. Right? Because he's thinking, I just left that tree from chasing and barking. I know the squirrels are there.
Yeah.
Mom called me, I'm here. I really want to go back there.
Right.
So then I just do nothing for like a minute or so. And I go, because he's going to be tempted. I really want to go back to those squirrels.
Right.
So if he takes off prematurely, we would just correct it and move away to bring him back without repeating anything. So then he's thinking, Mom calls me, my job is to stay put. Maybe I get to go back to the squirrels again, maybe I don't. Okay, so then same thing, I could either release him, okay, good job, break, go back at it, or I can go heel and walk through the squirrel trees and then go back on the sidewalk, and now we're going back home, there's squirrel time is over. Okay, so I have no problems or qualms with dogs being dogs, chasing squirrels, chasing rabbits, stuff like that. They're dogs. I just want to know that if I say something, they're going to do it, and it's going to be more important than that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's why I was just all about numbers. So using that down as a reference point, I was like, I think we're 70, 80, and then we went to 80, and lo and behold, oh, there's Walter, and there's Walter very quickly. Okay? So these are things you want to think about when you work with them in those new settings. And trust me, if you go there, if you're able to escalate quickly and just recognize, you're going to go, oh shit, Jesse wasn't lying. This is Walter's first time here, and he's doing excellent. Power. Okay? Questions? And this is how I start, like, for your question earlier, of like, how do I make this different, right, to practice it? It's really just, you know, new environments.
Right.
The only thing that would possibly change is going to be your power. Until you do that consistently, then he goes, it doesn't matter where we are, 80 and 90 is a thing, and Mom makes me listen. That's what dogs care about. Okay, is that it's consistent. Anytime you say something, you make it happen. That's how their brains work. But if it's like, sometimes Mom makes me come back, sometimes she doesn't, then they become gamblers. Okay, and then he learns, can I get away with it today? And then he's going to be willing to test that little threshold, and that's where it works against us. Okay, so like earlier with the garage thing and stuff, I'm all for that. Like, I don't care. It's something to work on. But then as soon as I see the one mistake where I'm like, this might become a thing, I just assume it and start fixing it, you know, so that I avoid creating a potential problem or him learning that, like, not all the time are things reinforced. Okay, he also thinks about context, and he might, you know, like my dog is lazy in the house when it comes to recall. Like Lexi is super lazy. If I call her, she's like stretches, she stretches and she yawns, right? And then she'll like wince her eyes and she'll shake her butt. I'm like, Lex, come on. She's like, right? I'm like, Lex, let's go, right? So then she'll finally saunter over, and it annoys some clients. But then I know at the park, she is a speeding tank to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, that's where I care. Like, in the house, I'm like, whatever, because it doesn't affect outside. Outside is pretty solid. Okay? Squirrel. Yeah. I like how he's just sitting up, just chilling. I saw a squirrel eating pizza once.
Really?
It was in a tree. And I tried to get a picture right when I got my phone out. Like, it dropped it and ran off. I'm like, no.
That's so weird.
All right, let's pop this guy in the heel, and we're going to pivot around towards that squirrel and then through these birds here. Okay?
Heel.
Right. And turn to your right. Tap. Yep. There it is. Very good. Tap. Try it through here. And then that squirrel's back right here, just terrorizing everybody today.
Those birds are like heck no.
Right. Turn, tap, tap. There you go, and then turn again. There you go. Good. And go ahead, and we're going to just down Walter, like right here in the shade. Oh, there's a squirrel.
Yeah.
Cool. Now down him.
Down.
Good, and then step away from him. Tap. Yeah, correct that first. Good, now step away. There you go. Good, now have you move forward, tap, forward, toe forward, yep, tap, hold right there, tap, tap.
This is what I was noticing with his down. I attempted experimenting. I was like, I don't know what I should be doing this.
With
But
the,
when I move, he comes with me.
yeah, so go ahead and tap, tap, wait a moment, tap, wait, tap, wait, tap. Good. Now, do your best to try to feed that out. It's okay. It's a good distraction for him because you're having to feed all that leash through and he's not moving. Very good. And then go ahead and just give like maybe 8 feet of slack. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. And then you're gonna just back away from him. Okay, and hold right there. And then you'll sneak around this way because that's where all the, you're gonna come around this way. Yeah, and you'll be about right here. That's good there. And you're gonna back away some more. Yeah, reel in your leash like you are. Perfect. Yep. There you go. So, you said something about when you down him, he wants to follow you.
Yeah, I did this the other day, yesterday.
Okay.
I was like, let me see. I have a feeling this is where this is gonna go tomorrow. And so I put him in it down just on the sidewalk.
Sure.
And on the short leash, and I put him in down, and then I stepped away, like same idea with the stay, like with my other foot and everything, and he like scooted with me.
Yes.
And then I corrected him and made him go back into the down, same thing basically.
Okay.
And then I was able to move around him once he was like, okay, I guess I need to stay here.
Correct. Yeah. So then,
Cicada. It's on the tree.
oh really? Where?
Yeah, they're here.
Oh wow! I had one on my Leatherman. I was with a client, and she's like, "Oh my God, there's a huge bug on your thing," and I looked, and it was like staring at me.
Ew.
And I was like screaming in the video.
I hate them. They're just loud.
Yeah, you can step away
He had
from
a
it.
grasshopper in his mouth the other day on our back porch. My friend was like, "Oh, there's a grasshopper." I was like, "Oh."
It's good protein. Okay, so you corrected them.
Yeah.
And then you got them to stay put.
Yeah.
About how far did you get?
I mean, I only had the short leash on. So
Gotcha.
I only went a little bit.
I see. Okay, that's fine. So here, because there's steps to like the downstay, is when you initially stepped away, like I'm expecting him to make problem, is that when he breaks position, if he moves, you...
See, and that's what I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't know. Because I had crouched down, and that was the other thing when he did it. I crouched down to like tell him good boy and everything, and he stood up. So then I was like, and he's like, then I like shocked him, and I was still down there to like correct him to go back into it down, and he just started nuzzling more into me. He's like, I don't know what you want.
Sure. That's all good distraction.
Yeah.
Because he has to decipher what he's supposed to do.
Right.
So you're partially correct.
Right.
Okay. So here, the first thing I want to get in his head is that when I'm moving away from you and you feel the remote going off because he stands up, it means to lay back down.
Right.
Once I get that in the head, then I go towards crouching.
Yeah.
Because then his brain's going to start thinking, if he's
which
licking.
I wasn't even thinking. I was just saying good job, and he stood up. And
Sure.
I was like, oh no.
Yeah. And then you correct it, and I keep correcting it until he figures it out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing you can do if he looks too confused is I step on the leash right there by his collar to limit his range of motion. It's all about his movement, his range of motion, right? To help him get to the answer of lay back down much more quickly. Okay. So what you did wasn't wrong. It was good. It's just
I wasn't expecting it necessarily.
to write it out.
Yeah.
So then here, if he moves out of place, I walk them as I'm remoting. I don't say anything. I lead them back by just walking. There's no heel involved. General area, and I keep promoting till he redowns.
Yeah.
And then I get slapped. Yes, right? Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. He doesn't have to be at the same position exactly. His general area. Okay? Because if he comes to you and lays down at your feet, he's thinking partially he's supposed to be coming to you.
Yeah.
And I want him to know, no, you don't come to me. You're supposed to just put your body back down in this position.
Yeah.
So I remove me from the picture. Okay? And then right now, I saw a squirrel come back briefly. Is using the environment again to your advantage, right? So like last time when we were teaching the down, you could very clearly see how he was like mentally not focused on you, but clearly still in connection with you because you would get him the down, you just move the remote, right? Same kind of concept here. So this is great for impulse control. Teaching them that you can't just go after squirrels and stuff. This is happening. And I bet you, okay, because if you do this around squirrels, right, they might hide.
Yeah.
You're going to do this, and then they're going to start to come out. And they're going to start to get close.
Yeah.
Why?
They're going to be like, he's not going to get me.
Yeah, he's under control. Yeah, so when a dog's in a predatory state, like this here is just observing. Observing.
Yeah.
Right? Because here's the dog. He's passive, and he's just kind of taking in the environment, right? So animals recognize this stuff. So, like, I remember when I used to walk my dog, there was this cat that used to hang on his neighbor's driveway. And I remember the first time we saw the cat booked it, right? And then my kid, like, went after it and corrected it on stuff. And then we'd always walk by it. And then the cat would just be chilling, like, literally at the edge of the street where the driveway was, and it'd be, like, grooming itself.
Yeah.
As I was walking by with dogs. And it stopped running away because there was no perceived threat. Okay, so it's kind of like people. If someone looks suspicious, you start to perceive threat, you're like, this doesn't feel safe. You either remove yourself, you confront it, you do something about it, right? Same thing for animals. It's instinctual. It's part of self-preservation. Where it's like, that dog looks like he's going to eat me. And they run away and be ahead of them, right? Oh, no, that dog has no threatening presence about it. You start to get closer. Okay? Now, whether or not he has a breaking point is a different thing. Okay?
Right.
But I use that to my advantage. Go somewhere, again, when there's lots of distractions, have your leash and all that stuff, down them, and just chill for a bit. Read a book, have a snack, I don't know. And then see what happens. And then see where does he start to trigger. If the squirrel starts coming up, right here, and he's still in that state, that's really good. Okay? Now, if it hooks it out of nowhere, I would expect a trigger. If now something randomly changed and it trains drastically because of the speed, then if he takes off, I just start remoting, lead him general space, okay? And then go back to what I was doing. So then he goes, all right, I can't give into my impulses. So like when it happened with my pit with that cat, it was a couple of times before it was fully like, okay, cool, the cat was like, nothing's going to happen. And then my pit was like, I can't chase that cat. So then that stopped. It's like a number of things working.
Yeah.
And it's just more exposure. Right? Questions about this?
No.
Now I told you about not doing a recall from stationary. Like if he's in a down state, you wouldn't do a walk or come. Yeah. My preference is to always release the dog
prevent him mistaking the moment he's being doing this.
So I can't take the column from a down if I'm far away. Like you were saying.
I suggest that too.
So, but because he might mistake that as like break or what?
Yes. That and what happens is they call the dog go down.
Yeah.
They start to prematurely turn.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah. Now, I get clients that it's just them, and that's the only way they have to practice the recall.
I feel like that's not true. So I just want to see.
Yeah, it creates premature breaking. He's going to assume you're going to call him. So, let's say I have a client that has
I
to
think even
practice.
before we did any of this.
That's how you do it. Yeah, everybody does.
Right.
It's like, I even tell people not to do it, they still do it.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. Like, part of me is like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it.
I had a client last week, it's just her, you know, and her dog, she was doing stays, and her dog was running to her. So then I'm like, your dog was doing really good last week. And then I asked her, have you been doing recalls for stays? She said, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's why your dog is running.
Right.
Because she thinks you're going to call her. So she's just going, I'm going to just jump the gun, right? So they created a problem.
Right.
So we can fix it. But now it's more work for the handler. That's my own, I don't care. I just tell the owner, if you don't care about having to fix this, then I don't care. But if you know you're not
recalling more when he's like up and moving.
yes, that's realistic.
And then this, I would go to him to break him.
Correct.
But otherwise, he needs to sit there.
Correct. That's how I approach it to prevent problems. Otherwise, if I have a client that's like, look, you can't do all that stuff, right? But if they're willing to like,
they do that every time.
yeah. So, like the one thing I suggest for people, if they have to do that, is because everybody does this. Stay. Come.
Yeah.
Right? And then bring it back. Down. Stay. Come. Right? They keep doing that pattern. So the dog goes, oh, you're just going to call me, right? So instead, I go, if you're going to do that, you're going to walk away. Wait a moment, nothing. Then I move again.
So they don't know what you're doing.
Yes. And then I wait. And then I call them. Because everybody does this right away. So I had a lady or a guy that her dog was psychic. Okay? She was like, Jesse, my dog is psychic. It knows that I'm going to call her before I even call her. And I go, show me. Okay? So, and she was doing this thing where she would stop in, right? Like, so this was good. Good. You see the difference there? She would, on the recall, turn before she would recall. And I told her, your dog's not psychic. Your dog is seeing her shoulder dipping, and because everything else was very stoic. Like, very good about this. Until
the reveal of
yes. So, you know, people, it's okay. It's funny, you know, but they aren't aware of that, and that's all I care about. So if I have someone, I'll tell them, you know, do this, wait, and then go into it when you're ready to make it very black and white, and then the randomization to prevent problems. Okay? And they can still happen, but at least it minimizes it. So it's something that you can do if you don't mind the extra steps, right? Because let's say he prematurely broke, you'd have to remote him. You know, back, no words. He downs, and then I step away to try again. And it might take me 5 repetitions of that.
Yeah.
Before he finally gets the fact of, all right, I should have moved. Even if I think you are going to call me, I should wait. And then other times, I won't even call them. I return to them, and I'll release them, or I'll put them in a heel. So it's not always a guarantee that when I step away, I'm going to call
I try to remember like that kind of
variety. Right. Cubeless, right? I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I've seen all the same mistakes that people naturally do, you know. But that was definitely one of the more funnier. My dog is psychic. It knows when I'm going to call her. I'm like, show me. The dog is not psychic. You're turning your shoulder on the recall. Good. So then here I go back to the side. Oh, there we go. Go back to the side. And go to heel. And squirrel's right there.
Tap, tap, forward, good. Right, good. Go and pick up your speed. Is there another one up there? I saw him looking at something.
Yeah, there's still one in there.
Good. Forward, good. Nothing here, that's all good. Tap forward. There you go. You're good. And then we'll cross over here.
Well, that's
And you'll slow to a stop. The shade there. And go and just give him a stay.
okay.
And just pivot out. There you go. And then come towards me here.
So, one thing that I noticed now that you're at that 80 is one, he had time to rest. Typically, when a dog rests, I would reset number.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
But here, it didn't.
Yeah.
But it didn't catch him off guard. Okay.
It wasn't like too powerful, you saying? Like
Correct.
that kind of off guard? Okay.
So, like, when I work with dogs in the beginning, their number might be higher, and then it dips. And every time I stop to talk to the owner, I'll tell them, dip down your number, because as a dog owner, cognizant of the number, it might catch them off guard.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, something. So here you're at 80, we stopped for a bit, we chatted, he rested, then we're like, okay, let's walk towards the squirrels. Right off the bat with 80, he just did what he was supposed to do. He wasn't like, holy crap, what was that? So that, again, tells me, or just reaffirms to me, like, that's like an appropriate number in that kind of context. Right? Got me immediate response, it didn't catch him off guard, he wasn't like, holy crap, what was that?
Yeah, it wasn't like a crisis situation while we were at 80. It was literally just his number.
So that's another thing I take in.
Yeah.
Right? He stopped smelling the ground as much as well. You notice that?
Yeah.
Remember when you first started, it was just nose, look, nose, right? But now that you're at 80, it's important enough that it's like your sidewalk number. Okay? So whenever you work with him, just become more aware of like these little changes in behavior as you adjust your number.
Right.
And
I
that's
guess
what
I don't do it like enough in these settings where it's like I know like when he ever stops smelling the ground, like I just don't even know. So I'm like, I don't know if it's until like do I need to increase the number? Like is that gonna stop? But clearly
Yeah. So think of it as so you said you're a teacher, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Counselor. Yeah.
Okay. So let's just take like a classroom setting. You go in, you see kids talking, and school is starting. Go through. Yeah, just okay, no shame. Right? Probably more politely, but it's like, no, we're going to learn now, right?
Yeah.
So think of heel. Again, all the stuff is working right now. It's in the classroom.
Yeah.
Okay? So when you downed him, heel's in a nice passive down. This stay is a nice passive stay. He's scouting. It's okay. But it's not intense scouting. It's not like scouting and I'm going to go chase it. Right? And if you so when he's in the heel is very specific. Boom here, I don't mind like the occasional nose down type of deal. Taking in the environment. It's not going to be like staring at you the whole time. That's not realistic. But you should notice, wow, he's focused. He's on the walk with me, and not just walking with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like he's cognitive. It's like, okay, I'm with mom, and I'm paying attention to mom. I'm talking to mom. When mom sits down, I lay down. She walks away. I stay put. Like he's attentive to you, right? When you release him, that's when there's a bit more leeway.
Right.
That's when it's like, okay, he can sniff the ground or whatever. But there can always be rules. So like, let's say you're at the park and there's a lot of goose poop, and you know that sniffing the ground is going to lead to eating goose poop.
Right.
Then you can correct for sniffing the ground. So typically he would be allowed, but in that particular setting, you're going 3 times a day.
Right.
Okay, you can always disagree with things. Okay, you're not being mean, you're not being cruel. He doesn't go home going, damn it, mom didn't let me eat. Okay, he doesn't think like that. But human does. Okay? So if you see something and you don't like it, you correct it. Okay? If you're not too sure about the obedience stuff, that's already you recognizing like you probably shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
But kind of not too sure.
Right.
But that's like your gut telling you like, I should probably correct this. So I always tell everybody, if you think you should tap or you're wondering if you should tap, you probably should tap. Okay? You can always have his own time. I don't I'm not against dogs and dogs. But when they're under control, they're under control. And then when they're on their own time, they're on their own time.
Even so, like when I break him or whatever, go chase this guy. Did I just hear you correctly? Like he always hesitates.
Sure.
He's like, can I? It's like whatever.
Hesitation is good.
Yeah.
It's when dogs just do things like, boom, like right off the bat, give them permission.
Yeah.
For the like standard family pet, it's an issue because like let's say he's on his own time and then he sees a girl across the street and he's got that kind of impulsiveness.
Yeah.
That just instant chase happens.
Right.
But when there's the like, can I really?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let me go catch him.
Yeah.
You watch me.
You're going to now. I'm not worried about that problem of if you see a squirrel across the street, are you going to go for it? Because you already have hesitancy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. You know, it's good in the sense that it keeps them safe. It's a bad thing that people look at it as bad. It's like, oh, my dog, like now he's kind of scared, like to chase squirrels. I'm like, well, it's either that or he's just like gone. You know, rules are no rules. There's no in between. Okay. Question. So I think for you, you're really close. It's just like more clarification on your part, like what's okay and what's not okay. Whatever the human wants. Okay, as long as it's within reason and it's humane. Everybody has their own rules, right? Some people go, I don't want my dog to chase squirrels. And I go,
I want him to.
You know,
I think it's funny.
sure. And I have no problem with it. But I do get some clients that go like, Jesse, is it wrong if I don't want my dog to chase squirrels? And I go, no, I'll pay for the vet bills, pay for the food, do all this other stuff, you know. But I was like, you won't really remove that from them because they're a dog. You should have gotten like a bill for something.
Right,
but
when you're not watching them, potentially.
right, I'm like, but your dog's your dog, but yes, you can have these rules because you do all this stuff, right? I would just tell them, like, you know, if you're going to take that from them, at least be balanced. You know, like if they're walking their dog and they like, you know, take the dog park or the dog beach or whatever, like they're doing stuff with them. Yeah. You know, it's not just this boring life of inside the home, walk them, you can't just go back in the house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then I'm like, so I try to balance things out. It's not just always about what the human wants. I also look towards the dog and natural instincts. I get people who get working dogs, not got a working dog, and I'm like, this dog is meant to do stuff.
Right.
I'm like, and you now you want me.
My friends were telling me when I got him, they were like all worried about
Sure.
So, anyway, so she was like, well, her friend is a pointer, and she's got to run him like 40 miles a week, and otherwise he's a complete terror in the house.
And so you see lack of discipline.
Yeah. Which I see on Instagram, lots of is free. And I'm like, for example, it's totally accurate, but they have the beds, they have that like dome over it.
Sure.
You see them, but they like, there's like a hula hoop in it that keeps it in the dome, but they take that out.
Oh,
so then it's just kind of like a blanket on it.
Yeah.
It's sewn in.
Yeah.
These dogs go in there and like burrow and like act all crazy. I'm like, I wouldn't even allow that.
Sure.
Like I'd be like, stop, like you're ruining the bathroom, like whatever. Like I just have all these like higher expectations, and I'm like, those dogs act ridiculous all the time. And, like it's funny for like an Instagram story, but I'm like, I would never allow that.
Yeah.
So it's just they just don't have rules.
Yeah, that's what it is most of the time. Every now and then I get a person who, you know, just like I had a lady who had a hound mix who lived actually over by the Diversity Golf Course, and that dog had the most intense squirrel drive ever. Yeah, and we didn't know this with the training. Like before training, thankfully she opted for like 12 classes and everything. And then, you know, towards the middle, she's like, man, Jesse, she's like, everything's going great with the obedience and stuff, but squirrels. And I was like, oh, tell me about it. She had never mentioned it. She's like, yeah, she's squirrels. So I was like, well, let's go look. Sure enough, this dog squirrels. So I was like, you're not going to be able to squash this if it's too intense, but you can harness it, you know. And I told her, obviously, you didn't put yourself in the situation because you weren't expecting your dog to have this level of prey drive. Because that's like I've only had maybe 2 to 3 dogs with that level of drive in my career. Because most people get family pets, unless it's someone that went to an actual breeder and got a German Shepherd meant to work, And then I'll tell them that's your fault. Like the dog didn't ask you to adopt them or whatever. That's your fault. So you're gonna have to like own up to this and like do what's needed, right? In her case, I was like, this is just your dog, and it was really harsh corrections to stop it. But she would never like Walter, you see how like that. But bigger difference from 35 to 80, right? Not with this dog. Not the other dog. It was constant. I told her like if you see squirrels, you have to be one step ahead of your dog, so that you don't get the flu, the booking. But her dog, she had to get it. She did what she was supposed to do. She, filled the role and everything like that. But yeah, a lot of it's just lack of discipline. Okay. So for you this week, what I would start doing is taking your obedience, and that was actually a really mistake, by the way. You didn't down at all. But start like just taking these things, and just like randomly applying. Okay. Your number is going to be the biggest factor. Do remember when you're done here to adjust it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. I usually turn it all the way down when I'm like not using it.
Okay. Sure.
I don't even want to shock myself. So that's more than I think.
It'll wake you up. Okay. I always see those Instagram videos where they smack themselves.
Yeah, basically, it's probably what happened.